The dog waited for 4 years, and what unfolded next will bring tears to your eyes. For 4 long years, the dog remained in the same spot, its gaze locked on the road ahead. Faithful and unwavering, the dog never gave up hope that its family would return. Finally, a car halted in front of the dilapidated house, marking the end of its long vigil. What follows is truly heartrending. In the small town of Westmont, life moved slowly along its tranquil, tree-shaded streets. The town appeared frozen in time, maintaining a serene environment that sharply contrasted with the bustling outside world. It was a grey morning, with a gentle mist blanketing the ground. When Hero appeared, it was a mystery where he had come from. One day he was just there, perched on the sidewalk in front of what looked like a long-abandoned house. Hero was a golden retriever, his coat a radiant golden, despite the often gloomy weather, shining whenever the sun broke through the clouds. His eyes were deep and vibrant, but it was his steadfast posture that truly caught attention. He sat as if waiting for someone who had promised to come back, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon, a sentinel in the same spot each day. The neighbors were the first to take note of him. Initially, they assumed he was lost and expected someone to soon come looking for him. However, as days stretched into weeks, it became clear that Hero had chosen his spot with purpose, his eyes always scanning the road for a familiar face. He rarely strayed from the house, as if the area held a sacred significance he couldn't forsake. Before long, the townspeople tried to make contact. Miss Evelyn, an elderly lady in the neighborhood, offered him food and water, hoping to gain his trust. Hero met her kindness with gentle, thankful eyes, though he remained rooted to his spot, only moving to accept a treat. After eating, he would stride back towards the porch and lie down, continuing to watch over the horizon. His actions seemed to declare that he belonged there, and he had no plans to leave. As the months passed, Hero's tale wove itself into the fabric of Westmont, evolving into a local myth. Children paused to stare at him in curiosity, while adults speculated about what or whom he might be waiting for. Neighbors exchanged rumors about the mysterious fate of his previous owners. Had they willingly left him behind, or had tragedy struck them? Despite the swirling gossip, Hero remained unswayed, his focus unbroken on his vigil. His steadfastness won the hearts of many. Several locals, touched by his devotion, attempted to offer him a new home. One man, Jack, even fitted Hero with a collar and tried to coax him away. Yet each time, Hero, with a glance that mingled sadness with resolve, would wander back to the dilapidated house, as if bound by a vow he couldn't break. Hero gradually became a fixture in Westmont. It wasn't unusual to see someone stopping to give him food or water, or even to sit beside him for a moment, hoping to share in his silent watch. They wondered aloud to each other, what drew him to that house? What visions filled his gaze as he looked toward the horizon? What fueled the fire of his hope? But Hero offered no answers. He simply waited, his eyes always searching, as the community's fascination and affection for him deepened day by day. Sophie was a vibrant 7-year-old with a ceaseless curiosity and energy that knew no bounds. She lived just a few blocks from the old forgotten house and passed by it every day on her way to school. It wasn't long before she noticed Hero, the ever-vigilant golden dog. From afar she watched him, intrigued by his silent, mysterious demeanor. Her mother had relayed the neighbors' stories of how Hero's family had disappeared years ago, but for Sophie, mere stories weren't enough. She felt a pull to meet Hero and learn his thoughts for herself. After spending a week observing him from a distance, Sophie mustered the courage to approach him on a Saturday morning under a shy sun breaking through the clouds. Armed with a small bag of dog treats, she sat down on the sidewalk, a few meters away from Hero, and watched him. The dog noticed her presence, his eyes reflecting a spark of curiosity while maintaining his watchful stance. Taking a deep breath, Sophie held out a treat and called to him gently, "Hi, Hero, I brought you a snack," her voice soft and friendly. Hero, though cautious, eventually moved towards her and accepted the treat from her hand. As he nibbled on the snack, Sophie began to chat with him, sharing tales of her school days, her friends, and her deep affection for dogs. As she spoke, Hero listened, his demeanor softening with each word she uttered. Gradually, Hero warmed up to Sophie's presence. When she gently stroked him, he would sometimes close his eyes for a moment, as if savoring a brief respite from his vigil. Sophie made it a routine to visit Hero every day after school, bringing along treats and sometimes a blanket or a ball, though Hero rarely engaged in play. Nevertheless, he seemed to cherish her company, and over time, their bond of trust deepened visibly. Sophie spent countless hours by Hero's side, chatting away as he continued his watchful gaze down the road. One day, while she was petting him, she sensed a change in his demeanor. Hero suddenly stood, walked to the door of the house and nudged it open with his nose, the hinges emitting a soft creak. He looked back at Sophie, beckoning her to follow. Driven by curiosity, she stepped inside after him. The interior of the house was like a capsule of the past, dusty and suffused with the scent of long abandonment. The living room, untouched for years, held old furniture and a table littered with papers and photographs. Hero led Sophie to a corner where a toy box lay hidden. He sniffed around it and carefully pulled out an old rubber bone, worn from use, but still bearing his name, Hero. The moment was poignant, a tangible link to his past life and the memories he held dear. Sophie lifted the toy, and her gaze fell upon a small stack of black and white photographs, yellowed from time. The photos revealed Hero with a family, a smiling couple, and a young boy about Sophie's age. Emotions surged through Sophie as she saw the evident happiness and love surrounding Hero in those moments, realizing he had once been cherished deeply by his family. "That was your family, wasn't it, Hero?" Sophie whispered, her voice filled with emotion. Hero nudged his nose gently against the photograph, as if to affirm that these people had indeed been his world. As Sophie looked over the photos, she sensed a deeper story behind Hero's persistent gaze. Filled with a resolve to aid him, she started to devise a plan to delve into Hero's past and discover the truth about his family. Though young and not fully understanding the complexity of it all, she recognized the profound significance of Hero's weight and was ready to do all she could to help her newfound friend. That day, as Sophie left the old house, she carried with her a heartfelt promise to assist Hero in finding the peace he deserved. Thus, a profound friendship was forged, a bond unbreakable between the young girl and the dog who, against all odds, still held on to the hope of his family's return. The following morning, Sophie was consumed by curiosity. Visions of Hero and his previous owners haunted her. She realized Hero was still hoping for their return, yet she couldn't grasp why they hadn't. Driven by a fresh resolve, she set out to dig into Hero's history. She discussed her plan with her mother, who was touched by the situation, and started to make inquiries within the neighborhood. Armed with some old photographs she had found at home, she headed to see Miss Evelyn, a long-standing resident of Westmont. "Miss Evelyn, can you recall who lived in that deserted house before Hero turned up?" Sophie inquired, gently handling the photographs. Miss Evelyn examined the images, her forehead creased with effort as she jogged her memory. "Oh yes, now it comes to me. It was the Williamses. A lovely couple, and their young son was just darling. They left abruptly years ago. I heard something about a tragic accident, but the specifics always eluded me." At the mention of an accident, Sophie felt a heavy sadness. "Do you know what happened to them?" she persisted. Miss Evelyn exhaled slowly. It's said to have been a car crash. Some claim they drove off a road nearby. Others suggest they relocated because of the ordeal. The exact circumstances were never clear to me. The house fell empty after that, and it wasn't long before Hero showed up. As the puzzle pieces began to fit in Sophie's mind, the full picture remained elusive. Energized by her initial finding, she deepened her investigation. She canvassed more neighbors and even persuaded her father to assist in searching through old archives at the local library. Together, they uncovered a brief newspaper clipping about a severe car accident involving a vehicle that matched the description of the Williams family's car. The article, however, left the fate of the family ambiguous. Sophie was undeterred. With assistance from her neighbors, she began distributing flyers and circulating messages about Hero. She included a brief account of the dog's steadfast wait for his owners and appealed for any leads on the family. The story of the faithful dog waiting for his missing family resonated widely, tugging at the heartstrings of the community. Individuals, young and old, paused to speak with Sophie, offering not only their moral support, but occasionally also crucial clues that might help solve the mystery. Days later, Sophie stumbled upon a more definitive clue. Miss Thompson, a longtime resident of Westmont with over 2 decades in the area, mentioned a distant relative of the Williams family residing in a neighboring town. This individual was reportedly the family's sole remaining contact post-incident. Armed with this new lead, Sophie and her neighbors persuaded her parents to take Hero to meet this person, hopeful he might shed light on the Williamses' whereabouts. On a bright sunny afternoon, Sophie, her parents and several neighbors embarked on their journey with Hero in tow. The town they visited was quaint and inviting, yet Sophie's heart pounded with anticipation of what they might discover. After hours of searching, they finally found Mr. Reed, a cousin of Hero's former owner. Mr. Reed was taken aback upon seeing Hero, and, as he listened to Sophie and the group recount their story, he was visibly emotional, covering his face with his hands. He shared that the Williams family had faced hard times after the accident and had moved far away. He believed that Hero had escaped in the ensuing chaos, unaware that the family had actually left him behind unintentionally. Though Hero had been left to wait, the possibility of reconnecting him with his family was now tangible. Mr. Reed committed to assisting in the search and disclosed that the family had relocated to another city, quite distant from Westmont. The prospect of reuniting Hero with his family invigorated Sophie, fueling her resolve to follow this path to its end. Following Mr. Reed's disclosure about the family's relocation, Sophie felt an even deeper resolve. With the backing of her parents, neighbors, and Mr. Reed himself, they set out to organize a comprehensive search. Hero's tale had already captivated many in their town, but now Sophie aimed to broaden its reach. She composed a poignant letter detailing Hero's unwavering loyalty and the unspoken promise he seemed to embody. She included some of the old photographs they had found and enlisted her parents' help to distribute the letter to local newspapers, various websites, and media outlets. The objective was clear: to disseminate Hero's story as widely as possible in the hope of uncovering any information about the Williams family's whereabouts. The ensuing days were a mix of hope and nervous anticipation as the Westmont community united in their support, all wishing for Hero to be reunited with his family. Weeks later, their diligent efforts started to yield results. Local newspapers picked up the story, amplifying it further. Several websites reposted the letter, and it even caught the attention of a regional television station, which featured the story of the loyal golden retriever. This widespread coverage sparked a significant response, bringing them closer to finding the Williams family. Hero sat patiently on the porch of the old house, seemingly oblivious to the bustling efforts around him. Sophie visited him daily, sharing updates, her words filled with hope. "You'll see, hero. Your family will find you," she would whisper, her hand gently stroking his head as she fought back her own emotions. One rainy afternoon, as the drops pattered softly against the windows, the phone inside Sophie's home rang. Her mother answered, her hand flying to her mouth in disbelief as she received the incredible news. The Williams family had been located. They were in another city, piecing their lives back together after the ordeal of the accident. Overwhelmed with emotion and barely able to articulate their feelings through their tears, they immediately requested the address to come and reunite with Hero. Sophie felt an overwhelming surge of joy, her heart swelling with anticipation. Word of this happy development quickly spread through the town. The following day, a crowd formed in front of Hero's house. Gathered were Sophie, her parents, Miss Evelyn, Mr. Reed, and many other neighbors who had joined in the search. Hero, perhaps sensing the heightened excitement, appeared restless, his demeanor shifting as if he was aware that something momentous was on the horizon. As the car came to a halt in front of the house, a visibly emotional couple stepped out, their eyes locked on Hero, and without hesitation they hurried towards him. Hero paused briefly, but upon hearing a familiar voice, recognition sparked within him. With a joyful burst, he sprinted into the open arms of his previous owner, who embraced him tightly, tears cascading down her cheeks. Time seemed to stand still as the years of waiting, yearning, and the ache of separation vanished in that single, poignant moment. Sophie and the gathered neighbors witnessed the reunion in hushed reverence. Hero whimpered with happiness, lavishing his owners with licks and gentle nuzzles. Amidst the embraces and tears, Hero's owner murmured, "We thought you had run away. We never stopped searching for you. And yet here you were, waiting for us all along." The scene touched even the stoniest hearts in town, with many unable to hold back their own tears. Hero, the epitome of steadfastness, was finally home. His unwavering loyalty and love had led him back to the family he cherished. While Sophie felt a slight pang of sorrow at the thought of parting with Hero, she knew in her heart it was the right choice. She had facilitated this touching reunion, and the sheer joy evident in Hero's eyes provided all the confirmation she needed that her efforts were worthwhile. With a sense of fulfillment, Sophie watched Hero, at peace, knowing she had played a part in restoring the bond that had endured so much. The reunion between Hero and his family was a poignant scene of unbridled emotions. As Mrs. Williams enveloped Hero in her arms, she repeated his name through tears. "You stayed here all this time, my dear. You never gave up on us," while gently stroking his head. Hero responded with tender whimpers and affectionate licks, as if affirming every moment of waiting was worth it. The residents of Westmont watched from a respectful distance, their eyes moist with emotion, having followed Hero's journey over the years. Witnessing his return to his family was a heartwarming finale that surpassed everyone's expectations. Sophie observed the tender scene, her heart filled with a complex mix of feelings. At that moment, Miss Evelyn approached, resting a hand on Sophie's shoulder. "You made this happen, dear. You brought Hero back to his family," she whispered, her voice soft and her smile warm. Sophie's eyes brimmed with tears, yet she managed a grateful smile, reassured by the knowledge that despite her impending loss, her actions were just. When Mrs. Williams and her husband finally released Hero from their embrace, they turned towards Sophie. "We have no words to thank you. Without you, we would never have found our Hero," they expressed, their gratitude deep and sincere. This acknowledgement filled Sophie with a profound sense of accomplishment, solidifying her confidence that she had indeed done the right thing. Mr. Williams, his face etched with genuine appreciation, acknowledged Hero's broadened family ties. "He's part of our family, but now we know he's also part of Westmont, and especially part of your life," he expressed warmly. As if understanding the significance of the moment, Hero walked over to Sophie and rested his head on her chest. Swamped by her emotions, Sophie embraced him tightly one last time, feeling his warm breath against her. "I'll miss you, Hero, but I know you'll be happy now," she whispered softly, running her fingers through his fur. Hero, seemingly grasping her words, lay down at her feet briefly, closing his eyes in a quiet farewell, then stood to join his family. As the Williamses prepared to leave, placing Hero in the car, the entire town gathered to say goodbye. Some waved handkerchiefs, while others subtly dabbed at their eyes. Hero gazed out through the car window, his eyes meeting those of the townspeople one last time. As the car drove off, there was a palpable sense of something vital departing with him. Sophie watched the car wind down the road, past the very spot where Hero had patiently awaited his family's return until it vanished from view. Her heart heavy yet full, Sophie felt a deep connection to the journey she had helped complete, forever linking her spirit with Hero's legacy in Westmont. In the days that followed, the silence in the house where Hero had lingered was profound. Sophie passed by, sensing the void left by her beloved companion. Yet she was comforted by the knowledge that Hero was now in the place he was meant to be, cherished by those who loved him. This understanding offered her a unique solace that was hers alone to appreciate. As time went on, Hero's legacy continued to resonate throughout Westmont. This once overlooked little town gained fame as the home of the dog who never lost hope. Outsiders started visiting to see the spot where Hero had faithfully waited, and the townspeople took pride in recounting his tale. Inspired by Hero, Sophie committed herself to aid other forsaken animals. She began frequenting shelters and initiated a campaign to promote adoptions locally. With her neighbors' help, they set up adoption events and secured loving homes for numerous dogs and cats, who, like Hero, longed for a place to call their own. Westmont transformed into a community united by belief in devotion and unconditional love. In tribute to Lakey, the townspeople erected a small plaque at the house where he had faithfully waited for years. Carved into the golden script, the plaque proclaimed, "Here Lakey, the faithful dog, demonstrated to the world the true essence of loyalty and hope." Although Lakey was now far from Westmont, his spirit lingered in the hearts of all who walked past and read the plaque, a constant reminder of the dog who, against all odds, never gave up. He transcended his role as a mere pet. He became a beacon for a community that had come to understand the depths of unconditional love through his enduring vigil. Did you find this story moving? How would you have responded if you were in Sophie's shoes? Would you have chosen to keep Lucky, or do you believe it was best for him to be with his original family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Remember, never give up and stand firm in your beliefs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have an amazing day.